In class, we've been working with comparing numbers. Today, we're ordering numbers. We're going to have more than one, usually 3 or 4 numbers, and we're going to have to find the values of those and put them in order, either from least to greatest or greatest to least. You will need a calculator for this. So if you don't have a calculator with you, stop the video real quick, go get your calculator and come back, because I'm going to want you to type some stuff in with me as we do this, because we're going to be using calculators on this lesson. So the objective today is the same as what it's been. I can order and compare irrational numbers. We already did the compare part of that. Now we're ordering. So the example problem starts off with 4 numbers. It says put the numbers in order from least to greatest. And so the first thing we're going to do is going to convert all the numbers to decimal form. That way we can easily compare them and get them in order by comparing place value. So we already have a couple in decimal form. That's nice. Negative 2.1 and negative 12.1 are already in decimal form, but the square root of 5 and 2 1/5 are not in decimal form. So we'll start with the square root of 5. We've been estimating those without a calculator in class, but now we're going to use a calculator because you need to know how to do both to get our estimate of the square root of 5. So press second, the button to the left of the 7 there gives us our square root sign, and then punch in the 5, finish off that parenthesis there. And we got 2.236. We're going to be rounding most stuff today to the nearest hundredth. If that for some reason doesn't break the tie, we'll go to the thousandths place. But let's round to the nearest hundredth. This would be 2.2, and that 3, because of the 6 next to it, round up to a 4. So 2.24, and we'll just write our decimal forms here underneath. 2 1/5, I don't need my calculator for that. We talked about this in class. If it's a denominator of 5, you just double the numerator there, and that's your number after the decimal. So this is 2.2. So now we're going to put the numbers in order, and we're going from least to greatest. So the first thing I notice is I have some numbers that are negative and some that are positive. So always your negative numbers will be less than your positive ones. And with your negative numbers, this can be a little counterintuitive, but I like to think about negative numbers as temperatures. And the warmer the temperature, the greater the number. The warmer the number, the greater it is. So you could think about, like, if it's negative 1 degree outside, that's pretty cold. If it's negative 100 degrees outside, though, that's dangerously cold. You don't really want to go out in that type of weather. And so negative 100 is less, it's colder. So the greater the number with the negative, the less it's actually worth. So between negative 2.1 and negative 12.1, the one that is actually less, because it's a negative, is negative 12.1. So that'll start off our list here. I kind of like to cross out the numbers as I use them too, so I don't end up mixing up which ones I'm comparing that are left. And then we have negative 2.1 will be next, because the other 2 that are left are positive. And we got 2.24 and 2.2. So let's compare those. We got 2 in the ones place, 2 in the tenths place, nothing in the hundredths, and 4 in hundredths. So this one is greater, which means since we're going least to greatest, 2 1/5 will be written next. And then I've got left the square root of 5. You'll notice something else that I did there. I wrote the original form the number was given to me in. So you're putting these numbers in order. Put these numbers in order from least to greatest. So even though I wrote some decimal numbers for some of these, this is a decimal estimate, I rounded that one, this was the exact value. It's important to go ahead and write the actual original form that you wrote, even if you converted them to decimals when you write your answer. Alright, we're going to do a couple of these here on the video, and then we'll do some in class. But I'm going to give you a list of numbers, I want you to write them down with me, and we're going to put them in order. This first group is going to be from least to greatest. So the numbers we're going to be putting in order are 3 1/8. The square root of 10, 3.13, and 3 2/15. These are all positive this time, so it's going to be a little bit tougher. We already have 1 in decimal form, but we'll need to change the other ones to decimal form so we can compare them. 3 1/8, you may know that one, but if you don't, you'll need to get your calculator out. And we're just going to take the numerator divided by denominator to get what comes after the decimal there. So 1 divided by 8 is 0.125. Let's go ahead and write all 3 numbers there. 3.125. You'll notice that if we had rounded there to the nearest hundredth, 3.13 would have been tied with that one, but they're not actually tied. The real value of that is 3.125. So in this case, it's important that we get the 3 numbers after the decimal. Let's do the square root of 10. 3.16 is what looks like that rounds to there. And then 3 2/15, I know it's going to be a whole number, 3, and I'll do 2 divided by 15. You guys do this as well. Anything I do in the calculator, you should be doing also. 2 divided by 15, you get 0.13 repeating. Okay, so let's do 3 numbers after that as well. So 3.13, 3. There's a 3 that would be next to this that would stay a 3 though, this one in the thousandths place. Okay, we're going to compare these. These are all pretty close, and we're going least to greatest. So we have 3.12, 3.16, 3.13, 3.13. So 3.12 is going to be the least. So that's going to start our list off here. Let's just write our answers out here to the right. So we got 3 1/8. Remember to write the original form there. I've got 3.16, 3.13. Let me cross this one out. 3.13 and 3.133. So it's going to be between these two because 3.16 is greater. And 3.130 versus 3.133. This one's going to be less because it has nothing in the thousands place, and that one has 3, and they're tied all the way up to that point. So 3.13 was the original form that was given there. And then we've got 3.133 over 3.16. That's going to be 3 2/15 is the original form there. And my greatest number is 3.16. The original form there was the square root of 10 though. So that's my final answer though, there with least to greatest for those. And now we're going to go greatest to least for this next one. And so your numbers are, that I need you to write down, are -2 and 2/9, 2.22, -22 and 9/22. And it looks like we have, once again, the square root of 5, which we found earlier. But we got it again in this one. So this time we have some that are negative, some that are positive. So we need to keep that in mind. And this time we're going greatest to least. So this is different as well. If we're going greatest to least, our positive numbers will come first. But let's just go ahead and change these to decimals. We've talked about this in class several times now. You have a denominator of 9. We don't have to change that with the calculator. We know what that is. It's just going to make that top number repeat. So this is -2.2 repeating. So let's just go ahead and write 3 2s there just to make sure we're not end up tied with something else. This one's already in decimal form, so we're good there. This one's going to be -22 point something. Let's just use the calculator to do 9 divided by 22 to figure out what that's going to be. Looks like it's going to be 0.4, and then let's just go 3 numbers again. 409. I don't think anything's going to be that close on this one, but it's good to go ahead and sometimes do 3 numbers just in case. And the square root of 5 we did earlier, but let's go ahead and do it again real quick. Square root of 5, second, square root 5. Finish off your parenthesis there. And we get 2.24 like we did last time. Or we could go ahead and write 2.236 if we want to go 3 numbers this time. You can, like I said, for the most part, you can do just 2 numbers after the decimal, but there may be some times when 3 numbers breaks a tie for you and you have to go back and do 3 numbers. All right, we're going greatest to least, and so we're going to start with our positive numbers. We got 2.236 and 2.22. So 2.236 is going to be the greatest, so that'll start off our list. Square root of 5. All right, then our next positive number, which will be 2.22. And since we're going greatest to least, I want to see if you can come up with this one before I write it here. Think about which between these 2 negative numbers would be considered to be the greatest. We talked about how with negative numbers you got to think a little bit differently. So -2 will be further right on the number line, right? -22 will be further left, and the further right it is on the number line, the greater it's worth. It's going to be closer to 0, in other words. So -2 and 2/9, because we're going to write the original form there, is going to be the next least, and then the very least number is -22 and 9/22. So that's the very least number. So we're going greatest to least on that one. And so when you guys get to class, we'll do some more like that here on your own, where you guys have to put those in order, but we'll wait to do those until it's class time. Make sure you bring your calculator with you to class.